So Riddhi, now we have to think about the second episode.
So, what do we shoot for the second episode?
Why don't you tell them our story, how we met?
That could be interesting.
You recall coming and joining office as a fresh architect?
I very well recall that.
Recall it?
And knowing nothing
Yeah,
and being put on a project which is like a 19-story
yeah,
building.
yeah.
And
Well, I think we did it good, right? In terms of 19th story also, way we worked out modular spaces and all. Think at that point I knew you could not really get into the nitty-gritty or did not understand. But somewhere I think that whatever rapport we had helped you mature and grow as a profession. You understood what architecture is about.
yes, and I think the way I still remember the way you just put me in a project, especially the school playground development. The second project I was working on was a 1 lakh square feet space where I was coming from a tiny home background, tiny compact home research. And I was like, what am I going to do here? Like, you do it. I'm sitting right next to you. You have a doubt? You ask me. And I was not confident on myself at all. But I think the trust you put in me was a stepping stone to what I am today.
Yeah. It's like, not just you, but somewhere I always tell my team, I'll throw you into deep waters. But my commitment is I'll not let you drown. So that's something I've been doing, and there are people who understand it, there are people who may not understanding it. But overall, I've seen that whenever people put that faith, I've seen them grow, and I've seen them going ahead with larger contexts and larger projects. But one particular thing I remember is that you were newly married and you had a lot of issues about how will I tell my mother-in-law and what way will I address and how can I stay back late in the office. And I think those conversations also helped us build a rapport where you could share your personal things.
Yes, that actually helped with strategizing a lot of, I would say, time management was the core because when I shared, you would come up with different ways and how I could manage my time at home and balance both lives
Yeah.
equally.
So I think that when a person starts off, this is very critical because the family doesn't understand what designing is about and what do you do making drawings. Why do you need so much of time? And when somebody is able to help you do that, it kind of generates a feeling within and also helps you balance. So you are more comfortable both in the home ground and at the office.
But I think I picked up unconsciously this trait, and I make sure I also get into conversations over lunches with my team. And if there have been instances where they've not been performing well, and instead of going and saying, why didn't you do this? I say, what's wrong? Is there an issue? Where can I help you? And I think that is where my team has become stronger and stronger over time. And when I have a problem or if there is an issue on site or in a client, anywhere, they are like, we are there, we are standing by.
Yeah, that's, I mean, very important aspect of people management. And without the right team, you can't go anywhere. That's very important. And other thing I recall is at that point, I think before we started off the school together, we had a very lull time.
Almost 9 to 10 months of no projects.
Yeah. And that's when we started building the systems. Because one thing I believe is, people say, okay, what you do takes you somewhere. But what you do when you have no work is what it prepares for the next step. When you have work, you know what to do, what not to do. When you don't have work and when you kind of use that time creatively, is definitely more useful. I think those systems not only help, but I remember those conversations once you started your own practice. Okay, what do I do here?
So honestly, those 9 months have helped me way more than what I've probably learned on projects because that taught me how to take up a project, a new project, or a new thing. I'm not scared to enter any new field or a new diversify anywhere because I know there is a start somewhere, and if I have a process to it, I can probably achieve anything. And I still remember I've done very menial, like random work in those 9 months, creating the firm company's portfolio to managing systems for the team and the workflow, etc. And when I look back, I think I was doing so much of the business management
Yes.
there, which helped me in when I started my firm. I was like, oh my god, I learned it here. I learned this one also. How do I improvise this? And I actually took all the systems we built at that time and customized it as per my small setup. Sometimes even with a freelancer, I would have these systems in place.
Yeah. I remember the worksheet what we started off when we used to manually count how many hours we
Hours.
put on the each project. Now same thing has become so formalized and into an app-based thing. But still, I mean that's where the germ of the idea started.
So when that we used to, like you said, we used
Yeah.
to measure how many hours we put on each project. I took it a level up in my firm and I analyzed those hours as per the finances, how much I've put in, how much the team actually has put efforts in terms of how much I've paid out to them and what is the profit I've achieved. And it's just helped me realize where I'm going wrong, where the team is going wrong, where it's taking more time. Is it because of the client? Is it because of the team? And it's just so helpful to take the next step forward when you start analyzing all these things, what we've done before.
Yeah, so business metrics, I mean, the financial metrics that we talk about are very simple. I mean, I don't understand when you go into business coaching, they put such a big language to it, this metric and that thing, and it confuses all designers. So it's just simple things. I mean, that is what we should take to our community, simplifying all the aspects of business. The way I mean, just it was that time a spreadsheet, right? We didn't have a
It we
Google
no
Sheets.
no we had a spreadsheet, and
Each one of us maintained
honestly we didn't even do a calculation on Excel at that
it. Yeah,
point.
we didn't know there was a plus sign
Years ago.
years ago. The way, I mean, we introduced some very different kind of concepts in that playground exercise.
Yes, research I think was a major part, and that is what I'm saying, that is what I took. So doing a school, preschool for you also was a first time
Yeah,
experience at that time.
landscape. I
And a
mean,
landscape, yeah.
it's
And
yeah,
how do you really get all the school concepts on a landscape? And it was just not a preschool, it was a preschool one side, it was a secondary school on the other side, and there was a college, women's college on the other side. So
yeah,
we were handling all aspects. And I was obviously a fresher, but when you said, "Ki, even I don't know, why don't you research?" It was just a breather, ki, okay, that is the way out. That even if probably after 14, 15, 30 years of experience, there could be something new which I would want to explore, and research would be the right way to go. And I remember I had gone and spent almost 2, 3 weeks in the school
yeah.
and sitting in classes and understanding what they are teaching, how the kids are reacting, how the kids are playing, what are their heights, and how do we ergonomically work everything out. And I think it shows in the project.
Yeah, and we still do that. Even after we build a school, we go for the research and ensure that whatever we have designed, whatever the aspect of our design was, and what way they're using now, where it is going beyond our expectation and where they are falling short of what we thought about, we take that as learnings. So that is very important as feedback. So, I mean, similarly, I would say the client feedback or convincing the client, because majority of our fraternity suffers from how do you explain the client, how do you meet the client expectations. So somewhere I think at that point when the client had just come to us telling के मेरे को play group के लिए let's just have a cycling track or one or two julas and slidings and all.
They were surprised as
And we
what we
said,
did.
yeah, and we said, no, it's going to be learning. Why don't we do this? And he had said, I remember, give me a week's time, I'll come back because this is something which I had never anticipated or expected something like this could be done. So I think overall, I mean, we have the capabilities and capacities to touch upon so many different lives. And with, I think, getting the business and the systems right, we could reach a wider audience, right?
That's absolutely true.
So that is how I think is what I think our aim is for Design Your Practice. And I think with this, let's end our second episode and looking forward to seeing you guys in the third episode. Thank you.